Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dan and these are my top archaeological finds of October 2023. Please subscribe for various videos and news about ancient history and archaeology. The topics are timestamped below. Now let's get into the video. Over 10,000 hidden structures in the Amazon. Archaeologists use cutting-edge remote sensing technology alongside statistical modelling to estimate that there are more than 10,000 pre-Columbian earthworks hidden beneath the canopy of the Amazon rainforest. The researchers used LiDAR to document 25 archaeological sites. Vinicius Peripato from the Brazilian National Institute for Space Research states, "We investigated a total of 0.08% of the Amazon and found 24 previously uncatalogued structures. These structures, referred to as earthworks, predate the European arrival on the continent and are commonly linked to other landscape alterations, providing evidence of indigenous habitation in diverse Amazon regions. This evidence includes Amazonian dark earth, the presence of domesticated species, and various other indicators." According to the researchers, 10% of the Amazon rainforest has seen landscape modification of these types, so there should be a vast amount of ancient structures to uncover over time. Here also are some 3D reconstructions by Thomas Cole of the ancient Aztec capital Tenochtitlan, which help give a visual of what it may have looked like back then. I'll link his website below if you would like to take a look at these fantastic recreations. Lost Roman forts from declassified spy satellite surveys. While we're on the subject of ancient hidden ruins, a recent study of declassified imagery taken by Cold War-era satellites during the 1960s and 70s has led to the discovery of 396 previously undiscovered Roman forts. The forts cover a wide area across the Syrian steppe, what is now Syria and Iraq. They spanned east to west, and a recent study suggests that these scattered forts were constructed by the Romans to promote inter-regional trade, safeguarding caravans journeying between the eastern provinces and non-Roman lands, and enabling communication between the eastern and western regions. Although the Romans had a strong military presence, they also placed importance on trade and communication with regions beyond their direct rule. A Bronze Age treasure. A stash of Bronze Age jewellery has been discovered in the town of Göttingen in Switzerland by a metal detectorist in a carrot field. The finds date back to roughly 1500 BC and include a necklace made up of 14 spiked bronze discs, 2 spiral finger rings, and more than 100 tiny amber beads. Archaeologists determined that this was typical costume jewellery that would have been worn by women during the Bronze Age. Other items strewn about the field, likely due to ploughing, included a bronze arrowhead, lumps of polished ore, an ammonite, a shark's tooth, a perforated bear's tooth, and a rock crystal. New Kingdom Cemetery discovered. The Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities have announced the discovery of a New Kingdom cemetery at the site of Tuna El Gabel in Minya, Egypt. The site contains Egypt's most extensive Greco-Roman necropolis, with origins tracing back to the New Kingdom and continuing through to the Roman period. The archaeological mission led by Dr. Mustafa Waziri has uncovered a cemetery containing the burials of high-ranked officials and priests from the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BC. The researchers excavated numerous rock-cut tombs in which burials were found intact with stone and wooden sarcophagi. Numerous funerary offerings were also recovered, such as amulets and jewellery, precious stones, gold objects, as well as wood and ceramic Ushabti statues representing high royal officials. They also discovered the first complete papyrus at the site, measuring between 13 and 15 metres in length. It will undergo a meticulous restoration process and will later be exhibited in the Grand Egyptian Museum when that opens. The tomb of Queen Meret Neith. Although Meret Neith's tomb was discovered in 1900, recent excavations reveal that the Queen's monumental grave was piled with hundreds of jars containing 5,000-year-old grape seeds, essentially the well-preserved remnants of wine and other grave goods fit for a royal. Inscriptions discovered inside the tomb, located in Abydos in Egypt, also indicate Meret Neith held an important role in the treasury and served in other governmental positions around 3000 BC. These finds suggest that she may have been Egypt's first female ruler. Some experts still question whether she actually reigned or not, but she was obviously of high significant importance just by her tomb complex. with her tomb in the centre, surrounded by tombs for her courtiers and servants. Sculpture paint in the Parthenon. A new study identifies traces of paint used to decorate the Parthenon sculptures. It has long been assumed that the sculptures were left unpainted. However, using visible-induced luminescence imaging, researchers have been able to identify microscopic traces of an Egyptian blue pigment on the sculpture's garments. Egyptian blue is a man-made pigment composed of calcium, copper, and silicon that was commonly used in ancient Greece and Roman, and even as far back as 3000 BC in Egypt. It would have been truly amazing to see these sculptures fully painted in their day. Tomb of Cerberus. A sealed tomb of Cerberus dating back to 2000 years ago has been discovered in Giugliano in Italy. It's named that due to Cerberus being depicted on one of the walls, as well as ichthyosaurs. The burial chamber was discovered after archaeologists spotted a wall that had been built using ancient Roman construction techniques. The tomb was found complete, including an altar with vessels for libations, and the deceased still in place on the funeral beds with rich objects. Mummy portraits. The Allard Pierson Museum of Antiquities in Amsterdam is holding an exhibition showcasing mummy portraits from the 1st to the 4th century AD. They were created during the Roman period in Egypt and would be placed over the faces of mummified persons. They are considered perhaps the earliest example of realistically painted portraits of people. And it's quite amazing to see these people painted as realistically as possible at the time. The museum has 38 of these mummy portraits to show. The exhibition opened earlier this month and finishes the 25th of February 2024, so you have 4 months still if you have the chance to visit. Ancient New Year's scene restoration. Researchers restored an ancient painting of a New Year's scene on the roof of the Temple of Esna in Egypt. The temple is dated to around 2,200 years old, and the painting depicts the gods Orion, Sothis, and Anubis riding boats while the sky goddess Nut swallows the evening sun above them. Sothis represents the star Sirius, which was invisible in the night sky for 70 days of the year before becoming visible again in the east, which marks the ancient Egyptian New Year. The Nile seasonally flooded at this time, and the ancient Egyptians believed that about 100 days after the appearance of Sirius, the goddess Anubis was responsible for the receding of the Nile's floodwaters. Ancient trade networks. Scientists have identified the oldest pieces of Baltic amber ever found on the Iberian Peninsula. Amber beads were found in an ancient funerary cave indicating trade networks around the Mediterranean and Europe dating back over 5,000 years ago. The amber was dated using infrared spectroscopy, and the site in context dated between 3634 and 3363 BC. This gives an interesting insight into potentially well-established trade routes earlier than we previously thought. The latest Tepe Finds. Archaeologists excavating at Göbekli Tepe have uncovered a boar statue with traces of red, white and black pigment. It was located on a stone bench decorated with an H-shaped symbol, a crescent, 2 snakes and some human faces. At Karahan Tepe, they also discovered a statue over 2 meters tall of a person in a seated position holding his phallus in both hands. And this is one of the most impressive examples of prehistoric art from that time period. Also uncovered was a bird statue believed to represent a vulture. There's still so much more to uncover at these sites, and I'm looking forward to all the little things we find along the way to put together a better picture of this amazing culture. Well, that just about wraps up some of my favourite archaeological finds of October 2023. So what do you think? And what was your favourite story? Well, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I've wanted to start covering archaeology news in some way, so please let me know if you enjoyed this format. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care of yourselves out there.